Yeah, so I needed a bit of a filler video because the consolidations video is going to take a bit of time, and I'm already struggling to find out every single one of the Cuban railroads that own consolidations, so here's a filler video just for the sake of it. Anyways, there's an iconic quote from a video game character called Cave Johnson. I think it goes something like this.
Science isn't about why, it's about why not. Why is so much of our science dangerous? Why not Mary save science if you love it so much?
And I think that quote best describes WDTX 1402. If you ask why, and yes, I'm copying this idea from BNSF 1458, then he'll just reply with, why the f not? And that's what this guy does. He makes a bunch of photoshops of trains with liveries that may or may not fit. And in this filler video, that is what I'll be doing today. And so, if you haven't already, remember to subscribe, ring the like button, and smash the bell, because we have a few things to see today. You know, the Rock Island paint scheme weirdly fits on an F59PH. I don't know why. Okay, this scheme doesn't really fit on a Dash 7, to be honest. This honestly does look like something that Via Rail would have done if they, did something on the route of Amtrak getting P32-8BWHs because their Genesis locomotives were taking some time to, build. This honestly could look cool if Brightline had their own OCS train in the manner of the freight railroads. Okay, this nose probably doesn't really fit with the paint scheme. What the hell is this? I honestly weirdly see this happening if the Soo line still existed today. I can already hear a mandated passenger variant joke out in the distance somewhere. Huh. I guess Metra is still in desperate Dan mode to find everything EMD. This looks cool, though I think that part on the rear should only be on the top of the hood and not heading down onto the car body. This just fits, no further questions. Here comes another fictional paint scheme idea from either Lionel or some other toy train producer. What the hell is this? Something tells me that we're gonna see this quite a bit in the future when a lot of the older GE power gets sent to short lines. I genuinely see this as a legit heritage unit that could come further down the line. Wow, I thought that CSX Cube locomotive looked weird. Okay, Phase 4 does look decent on this locomotive. Okay, this scheme does not fit on a Vectron. This genuinely looks super cool. If Amtrak does make heritage units of schemes that aren't their past paint schemes, then I could genuinely see something like this happening in the future with their ALC-42s. And as mentioned about that Amtrak ALC-42 in SP paint, I genuinely do see Via Rail doing something like this, especially for their 50th anniversary. Okay, no. Moving on. And if things went the FIT way, then I could imagine Ontario Northland doing something like this. Somehow, this looks kinda cool. I definitely do see a world where Metro North actually operated these F59PH locomotives. This actually looks really cool on the Genesis locomotives. For some reason, I do see Amtrak doing this if they would have kept their HHP8s in service, and if not, do this on the HHP8-C, the cab car conversions. Okay, what the fuck? Metro North owned F59PHs, and I definitely do see this being a heritage unit. I don't know why, I just do. Okay, this looks a bit weird, but alright. You know, I do have a feeling that if Amtrak applied the hockey stick / Pepsi can logo on more than just their P32-8BWHs, and I definitely do see this happening in some kind of alternate universe. This scheme does pretty much work well, especially giving Reading 2101. Now this will absolutely eliminate Britain's loading gauge so that they can run bigger and better trains. Okay, this doesn't really work for the Acela Express, especially not the passenger cars. I can definitely imagine Coaster doing this if they had MP Express locomotives. This definitely would look like a cool heritage unit. But CSX is not doing so because the last time a Penn Central heritage unit was made for a freight railroad, things went haywire. This would look awesome in real life. Can it stand up against every road vehicle in existence though? You know, CSX does try to find replacements for the F40s on their OCS trains, and I can definitely imagine CSX doing this for their OCS train. You know, the North Star livery is honestly underrated in my opinion. I could imagine Sue getting some SD70s if they still existed today. You know, I honestly kinda wish that this was a real scheme from Amtrak. I honestly could imagine this happening if Via Rail had an electrified corridor. I seem to like this better than the actual Grand Trunk heritage unit. You know, if the Rio Grande Ski train still existed today, then I could absolutely see them operating P42s for the ski train. This doesn't exactly seem too far-fetched off considering the fact that Amtrak is repainting a lot of its equipment into Phase 7. Don't one of you mention too? Something tells me that if Amtrak was more like Metra, this would happen. This weirdly kinda does fit. Something tells me that this would happen if DB Cargo had a subsidiary in America, or Canada, or Mexico. I feel like this kinda does and doesn't fit on a Charger. If BNSF got off their rears and made heritage units, then I can definitely see this happening. Wouldn't it be awesome if Iowa Interstate made a Rock Island heritage unit like this? Because I think so. This scheme on a Genesis locomotive genuinely looks awesome. I also think I may have given some F40PH foamers nightmare. Honestly, this scheme would look really cool if Canadian Pacific applied it to more of its locomotives. I don't know, if this scheme was on a P32, then we would miss out on the hockey stick, but this still does look nice. Any idea how much we should bribe a paint crew to accidentally paint a UP Gevo into this? This just looks cool. Simple as that. If Amtrak Midwest existed at the inception of Amtrak, this genuinely looks awesome. If the Golfmobile in Ohio still existed today, then I can genuinely imagine this scheme being with the GM&O and going really hard. This goes really hard. I don't know why, but it just does. Phase 7 at front and Phase 6 in the rear is absolutely an amazing combo, and 4449 just shows that. An alternate universe. I think I like this better than the Avalia paint scheme that's currently on the Avalias. Given the Jeeps in the Phase 7 livery, I could imagine this happening if Amtrak also had SD40s. This does seem to fit, but what the hell? I'm honestly not sure if this fits or not. This would look cool on the standard cab GE. Also, is that Via Rail's standard Charger Venture livery right there? This just looks really cool. Simple as that. Though how many is he gonna do? For some reason I do see Metra having these locomotives and using them for both the commuter trains and yard work, much like the P32s on Amtrak. Okay, I'm not sure if these liveries would exactly fit on the Eurosprinters, but still nice. I would genuinely like to see a Pennsylvania Railroad heritage unit with this livery. I can kinda imagine this happening if the Rio Grande still existed today, or if the Union Pacific went with Gevos for their heritage units. Okay, these would have absolutely slapped if Pan Am had SD70Ms. This would look really cool if Penn Central somehow succeeded. This just looks nice. Okay, this honestly would look really cool in real life. If Montana Rail Link had Dash 8s, this would honestly look really cool. This scheme honestly fits really well with the wide cab GE. This does look a bit weird, but it's still nice. The Northeast Corridor Phase 3 livery honestly would go hard on these other diesel locomotives that Amtrak operated. This honestly would look cool on a Western Pacific OCS train if the Western Pacific still existed today. I can imagine Metro North putting the beach ball livery on one of their chargers somewhere down the line in the future, to be honest. If Amtrak owned more wide cab GEs, then I can definitely see this happening. This feels so wrong, yet so right. And same thing as the previous Photoshop. This honestly makes me wish that Amtrak owned more multiple units. I think the Rio Grande did own Krauss Maffe's, though not in this livery. Okay, this just feels wrong. This genuinely does go hard. I am about to make every British Rail fan go mental. I kinda wish that this happened if Union Pacific had more Alco diesels. I could imagine Amtrak doing this if they were more into 6-axle power. The Ferromex livery weirdly fits on the F59 PHIs. These, though, do not really fit. Would be cool seeing this as some sort of Ace heritage unit. This would look really cool on a BNOCS train. If Amtrak kept Phase 1 for a bit longer, then I could absolutely see this happening on their F40PHs. Imagine if the Southern Pacific kept their name instead of doing the Union Pacific. If Metra kept on using freight locomotives, then this would honestly go hard. I, for some reason, like this. Seeing a scheme on a manufacturer that pretty much put all the steam locomotives out of use on a steam locomotive honestly feels really wrong. Again, if BNSF did make heritage units, then I would absolutely love to see this. He certainly was not that far off from what the tag heritage unit would look like. This just looks cool. Simple as that. I honestly don't have a problem with this happening IRL. Now this would be really cool if Metra and the owners of Soo Line 1003 did something like this. Given Metra's EMD only state, I think this is only a matter of time. Unless these are fitted with EMD 1010s and Metra can't maintain 1010s. If Amtrak did the same thing they did to a couple of their P32-8s, then I could definitely see this occurring. I wouldn't have a problem with this existing in real life if this happened. Makes me kinda wish that Amtrak owned F59PHs more. This would go hard in real life. This would genuinely look really cool as a CPKC heritage unit. I can honestly imagine something like this happening if Via Rail had an electrified corridor. This just looks awesome. Again, this would look cool for a BNOCS train. This would look really cool if it happened. I can imagine this happening if Amtrak painted an HHP8 cab car into Phase 6. Imagine if this happened. That would be weird but cool. This honestly doesn't look too bad. I like this. No, you can't just put an American locomotive on British tracks! Haha, loading gauge go bye-bye. I could absolutely see this happening if the Katy still existed. And same thing here if Amtrak lightened up to multiple units more often. Honestly, a bit of a shame that more railroads did not buy Genesis locomotives. This would have been awesome if it happened. Oh, forget it. All we had to do was follow the damn train, CJ! I don't think I'm making a lot of British Rail fans happy right now. To anyone wondering, yes, this actually existed. Imagine if the Milwaukee Road Heritage Unit was with an F40PH. That would be cool. Again, this would go hard if Via Rail had an electrified corridor. Again, I see this happening if Amtrak makes more heritage units than just their previous paint schemes. I really wish CSX did this in real life. Well, at least the chassis system decal is the right size. Imagine if the Capital Corridor was electrified. this would be so cool. This would look really cool if D&H owned B40-8s. I wouldn't have a problem with this existing in real life. This would go really hard in real life. Again, if BNSF made heritage units, this would look really cool. I can't imagine 171 getting this paint scheme if Phase 3 lasted a little longer. Okay, what the hell? I weirdly like this livery. I can definitely imagine this being part of a Caltrain work train or something. I think I have made Penzi Fan 19's desires come true. I can weirdly imagine this happening for Metro North sometime in the future. Again, this would look really cool if Amtrak owned more multiple units. This would go really hard in real life. This just looks like a typical international limited paint scheme if Via Rail owned P42s earlier than it did. This would just look so cool if it happened in real life. Hey, how much should we bribe Union Pacific's paint shop work? This just looks so cool. No doubt about it. This would look really cool if it was on the original 1979. This scheme would go great on Metrolink's F-59s, no doubt about it. Is it the Flying Daylight or the Coast Scotsman? I can kinda imagine C&NW ordering AC-6000s if they lasted past 1995. Okay, what the hell is this? If Amtrak had RDCs and they lasted into the 2000s, I can definitely see this scheme being applied to RDCs. This would look really cool in real life if CSX didn't hate the SD70 Aces. No. G&W equipment does not belong on passenger stock. Again, given the rebuilt Amtrak Jeeps, this looks really cool. This would look cool in real life, not gonna lie. If the Utah Railway wasn't owned by G&W, I would see this happening. This livery honestly looks really weird on the 4449. Again, this would go hard in real life. Okay, this looks just... nah. The fact that the SD60s and SD70s didn't get this paint scheme in real life is a crime. I can definitely see Amtrak doing this for one of their ALC 42s in the future. This would look really nice in real life. Amtrak Surfliner-9, bottom 10. I'd definitely F with this if it was real. This does look pretty cool. Again, how much should we bribe the Union Pacific paint shop? This would definitely be super cool on the Piedmont. I wouldn't have much of a problem with this existing in real life. I wouldn't really have much of a problem with this existing in real life. This would look really cool if the LIRR had P32AC DMs. If Metra owned Genesis locomotives, I could definitely see this happening as a heritage unit. Well, he wasn't exactly too far off from what the SC42 DMs looked like. Okay, this is cursed as hell, no doubt about it. I think it'll only be a matter of time before we find out if this is the scheme for the two new Amtrak Cascades SC44s. Again, I'd definitely see this happening if the C&NW lasted past 1995. This would definitely look awesome if the Southern Pacific did this. If this happened, I'd say I wouldn't really have much of a problem with it. You know what, I'm just gonna get back to the Connie video. I'm done here. But thank you for watching, and until then, have a good day.